I'm Patel. You can call me Dr. Patel. This is my hospital, the Patel Memorial. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dr. Patel Show. Today we'll be helping out a couple whose child will have Huntington's disease. Today we also have a special guest of honor, Dr. Breezy. Hey! What up, Dr. Breezy? It's all good. So, let's take a seat.
Hello everybody, I am so glad to be here and to help this couple with some very helpful tips.
Please welcome them in.
Welcome.
Thanks.
So everyone, this is Harold and this is Katie. So let's get started. So this was a burning question in my head when you guys had first entered for the show. How do you know your child has Huntington's?
My wife took a genetics test, and it's called prenatal. This is when you take a sample of fluid from the fetus, and it indicates whether the baby inherited the gene or not.
Obviously, it was positive. But to get this out of the way, too, the reason we tested the baby is because my mother had Huntington's.
Oh wow, well that certainly answered my question too. To start you guys off, do you guys know the background information on Huntington's disease?
No, we don't.
Oh, well, you're lucky because Dr. Patel does. So this disease is caused by a mutation in a gene which produces a protein called Huntington. Huntington results in an abnormal cellular process. In turn, this leads to the clinical features that familial ISIS and doctors recognize.
Do you know how you can get Huntington?
Yeah, well, this disease is hereditary and comes on slowly. We are still unsure as to what the causes are for the abnormal Huntington. So, now that you know that it's hereditary, you earlier were talking about how your mom was the reason why you got tested. So Dr. Breezy brought in some diagrams about the inheritance pattern. So here we go.
Okay, so Huntington's is an abnormal dominant allele. People that just have one parent with it have a 50-50% chance of developing the disease. Usually Huntington's is passed down by one of the parents, but on some occasions the child's DNA can mutate itself into the disease. So now this is what happens when the DNA repeats itself. The repetition of the DNA is responsible for Huntington's. People with too many, or about more than 45 of the CAGs, will develop the disease. It usually doesn't take effect until after reproduction. So now assuming that the inheritance pattern followed and the child gets Huntington's, here would be some symptoms.
But before we even start that, there are many symptoms that can occur. So we'll briefly go over some of the main ones.
Well, I already know of some. My dad said when my mom got Huntington's, she had a difficulty planning, organizing, and prioritizing tasks. She would be very clumsy and would fall a lot. My dad said her main symptom is having a tendency to get stuck on a thought, behavior, or action.
Don't forget, your dad always said she was constantly cleaning, which is obsessive-compulsive disorder.
And did her mood ever change?
Constantly. Even now, they call it mania, I think, which is an elevated mood, overactivity, impulsive behavior, and inflated self-esteem.
Now, this is really good that you guys know this because it'll help you out a lot. You practically went over what I wanted to do. There's just one really important thing that y'all left out. Your child may have abnormal facial expressions and difficulties chewing, swallowing, and speaking. So be aware of all of this, and these will be great tips that we will go over later. So now this dives us into the next important topic, the treatments of Huntington's disease.
There is no actual cure for this disease, but there are some potential treatments, and even some lifestyle ways that can offer new hope.
So, well, to start, research is being done by basic neurobiology, clinical research, imaging, and animal models, which is when they mimic the disease into the animals and test potential treatments. While that's been going on, your child's lifestyle can even help them.
That's right, like diet and supplement, exercise, and spiritual, as well as psychosocial support.
Are there any medications that can help with the symptoms that we just talked about?
Of course, there are medications from left to right that'll help. It may be expensive, but all in all, it'll bring down the majority of the symptoms.
So now that you guys realize that there is no cure, we can talk about how your child's lifestyle will be. Let's start with the therapies that you guys could decide to put him in.
There are 3 main therapies. First, occupational therapy, which helps with day-to-day activities. Second, physiotherapy, which helps with mobility and balance. Lastly, speech and language therapy, which will most definitely help your child with swallowing.
Swallowing?
Wait, does this mean he will have a different eating plan?
Yes, he will. He will have a difficulty in maintaining a healthy body weight, so he'll have to eat right, meaning more than 3 meals a day, and they'll have to be high-calorie meals.
Well, I mean, that wouldn't be too difficult. Kids eat a lot anyways.
I think we've had enough information on how my baby's life will be, but when he goes into school, what will happen?
Honestly, the school will take great care of him. He will most likely get an individual education plan and have an assistant with him at all times.
Well, that makes me feel a little reassured.
That's good. Sorry, but we're running out of time, so is there anything else you guys would like to fit in?
Oh, I want to know a little bit more about the statistics in Huntington's disease.
Honey, do you ever listen to me? I was telling you about this a while ago. I got this. There are many statistics out there, but here are some main ones that have to do with family. 1, it is more common if it is passed down by the father. 2, there is a 50% chance of getting the disease if your parent has it. And 3, 10% of people who develop the condition do not have it in their family.
Oh, now I remember. I think that 4 to 8 people per 100,000 get it too. And when it comes to culture, it is 10 times more prevalent in Western European populations compared to African and Asian populations.
Whoa, guys, now you're overpowering my information. Oh,
Job well done.
looks like we're out of time, but one last thing to you beautiful couple. I wish you both of the best of luck.
And I know your baby will be prosperous and never stop loving that child.
Thank you.
See you next time on the Dr. Patel Show. Woo!
It's a Crazy Bio Girls production!